our new rector, Mr. Professor Iliescu, the rector of the Ovidiu University of Constanța. I give him the floor and I invite to tell a few words about the conference.
Thank you and good morning. I already noticed I'm not the only one betrayed by technology, so I have to start with excuses because maybe the delay was caused by me. But anyway, I have to mention that I'm deeply honored by this invitation in a personal name and also representing the Ovidiu University. I was checking the program, I was checking the attendance, I was checking the panels, and I already noticed that it's the 17th edition. The 17th edition, that already means a performance, means tradition, means cooperation, and means academical solidarity. And this is something which I have already to congratulate you. Seeing the panel, seeing the topics, I am quite confident that this is going to be a success, even if the weather and the time, it's the one that is imposing restrictions. But I'm very, very confident regarding the success, and that's why I'm going to start by congratulating the organizers. And because this is hosted by Constanța, not only by Ovidiu, in the panel, it is hosted also by sisters universities in Constanța, like the Maritime University. And because I'm speaking about solidarity, I'm going to steal 1 minute of my speech because I want to personally thank the leaders of the Maritime University for their academical solidarity and for their help in Ovidiu's University admission process. Thank you for many thanks for the rector, many thanks for the president of the Senate, and many thanks to the colleagues of the Maritime University. Coming back to the conference, I will reiterate my wish of success, and I'm confident that it's going to be a successful conference, and I'm looking forward to be invited to the 18th one. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rector. Sorry for this technical problem. I will try to introduce another guest, Mr. Juganarul, the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Constanța, who will has the task to help me during this plenary session, having in mind the presentation in the last part, in the second part of the conference and the plenary session. Mr. Juganaro.
Good morning. I can hear you. You can hear me? I'm not sure. Are you hear me, please?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes. Thank you, Professor Vigoruț. For me, it's a little bit strange to be called, let's say, be invited party, because I'm part of university since the beginning in 1990. So I'm teaching in University Constanța Ovidiu University. So I'm a little bit a host in the same time, not a guest. We are doing this conference now in a very, let's say, strange situation, not being able to see each other in physical and usual normal condition. So I hope that next year we'll be back in the same normal condition, not in only seeing on the screen. About the tourism, probably you are aware, we are expecting this year to be the worst year after decades. The World Tourism Organization and some other officials are saying, are making provision that probably that will be worse than 9/11 in United States event, worse than SARS, and so. Speaking about international tourism. but we have a chance to have quite good results in what we are calling internal tourism, domestic tourism. We are doing this in Romania, not in the maximum capacity, because probably you are aware the restaurants are not open anymore, and not yet. But however, we have quite good figure concerning the tourism on the Black Sea coast in Romania. I don't know how is the situation in where the country in the countries our guests are coming. We can discuss probably during the conference. So please accept my warm welcome in our conference to all our guests, and let's proceed.
Thank you.
Yes, the next guest, Mr. Professor Remus Gan, is a vice president of Constanța Maritime University Senat. I will give him the floor, and then I will ask my colleague Madalina to take the responsibility.
Good day all. Thank you for inviting me like speaker at this conference. Dear President of the conference, dear Professor Cornel Grigoruc, as host and moderator of this conference, I'm honored to participate at this opening for this prestigious conference and to give the message of the Professor Panaid Cornel, who is the President of the Senate of the Constanța Maritime University. Welcome to this 17th edition of the conference that this year takes place on the Black Sea in Constanța, Romania, even the current constraints only in a virtual environment. This does not prevent the world of the researchers from various fields of knowledge not to interact, not to make known their researchers and publish their results of the research in these fields. Also, in the virtual environment, researchers can interact with other specialists to try to exchange ideas and share knowledge in making to the contribution of the humanity quest, and also to give their contribution to make the world better and to give another good place for the future from the child. Also, I would like that the future edition that will take place next year to be able to introduce a new panel regarding part of the engineering in this conference, and also this panel from part of the technical innovation in maritime and port field, also in maritime cybersecurity, green energy, and also in maritime business intelligence. And the specialists from our university can interact with other specialists to give better the world. I wish success to this 17th edition of the International Scientific Conference of the Cross-Cultural Science. Good luck, everyone, and happiness. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Drgic, do you know, is Mr. Raicu?
Yes.
Okay.
I will present the associate professor and the vice rector. It's a great honor for us to have you at this conference. Mr. Gabriel Raicu from Constanța Maritime University. For us, it's very important, this cooperation between the two universities, as already our rector mentioned, this opportunity of collaborating. Professor and Vice Rector Gabriel Raicu, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. You make me a bold introduction. Yeah, indeed, our university are the most important part in disseminating the research activity and other related educational activity in our regional area. I want to send you a warm greeting from the Maritime University of Constanța, as well as my colleague before, on occasion of this conference. Our university has made a habit of supporting and developing scientific and cultural activities over time. This support grew during the COVID-19 pandemic as a belief and a guarantee that, together with science and culture, humanity will progress to periods of sustained development beyond the unforeseen events of this year. Maritime University itself is channeling its efforts to support the most regional, cultural and social activities. Through its graduates, through the economic and financial strengths that they return to the Romanian state, our university is also an important actor and contributor to the general European development. Our students are trained in the vital field of maritime transport by sea. They are specialized in the fields of engineering, economics, and environmental protection, as well as telecommunications. Our master courses include advanced elements of engineering and management in the maritime and related to offshore field, as well as new elements with a very good international visibility in the field of maritime cybersecurity as an urgent need of our times. As an example, the Maritime University held the first time recently a student conference in the Black Sea area, a conference attended by students from Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, Georgia, Ukraine, and Russia. Less than a month ago, we completed the Black Sea Maritime Cybersecurity Conference, the 4th edition of one of the most important conferences in cybersecurity research in Black Sea Basin. Today, all of us are in deep dependency, as you already know, due to the today activities. We are in deep dependency to the technology in order to overcome the pandemic effect. All normal activities are affected more or less in different related to the face-to-face present scenarios. For this point of view, the future seems to shape well and more resilient to unpredictable threats. Let's hope, starting with this conference, with today's conference, also the things will make the world better. In fact, I'm deeply convinced about it. I wish you a great success and a very, very interesting journey in the scientific field. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Anyway, sorry for these changes. I will give the floor to Mr. Denis Zungan from sorry, I apologize if I...
no problem.
Yes, is the professor at Manisa Celal Bayar University in Turkey. Yes, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Romania. Good morning, Mr. Constanța. And it's an honor for me to be here.
Good morning.
Good morning. And is it possible for me to present my, or just hello?
Hello, yes, sorry. You can present yours, yes.
Sure. Can I begin to share my presentation?
Yes, please. You can share.
And by the way, hello to see you, my friends.
And also, Mr. Zungun, do you have the microphone is a bit? Do you have like? Can you be more close to the microphone?
Yeah, I can use.
Thank you, Adrian.
It's a long distance.
Technical problem will fix easy step by step.
It's a long distance.
I think it would be better for the headphones.
Okay.
And sorry, I will ask my colleagues Danuju Ganaru, because our colleagues will start to present their lectures to give me a hand if it's necessary to moderate together with me, and the same with my colleague Madalina, three of us to to start and to help our colleagues to be on a very positive trend. Yes, go on, please, Mr. Zungun.
Now it's okay.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we see your share screen now. All good.
Is it okay? Can you see?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Today I want to talk about some e-commerce and current account deficit relationship. But as you know, because of COVID-19, many people says that, and it's a famous sentence that there is nothing to be the same. Maybe not everything or anything, but something will change, of course. And maybe in recent years and in the near future, the name of this subject can be changed, like the triangle of COVID-19, e-commerce, and current account deficit, because, you know, we are at home. We couldn't go somewhere. I don't know Romania, but for Turkey, there was some abundance, some limits, some rules, and it was really hard rules that for per a week we were 3 days at home, 4 days can we go for shopping or another thing, or for foods. Some days for 4 days per a week we were at home. Only 3 days we can go somewhere to survive. In fact, that's why we need to, maybe you need to e-commerce shopping from internet. And this shopping from internet is important for Turkey and for the economy, maybe for Romania also. But if the shoppings are from the domestic side, if it is for the domestic products, because for domestic products, if you try to shop some things from internet, you are afraid of going somewhere. You are afraid of buying something from abroad. You are afraid of waiting a cargo from abroad. That's why we are choosing the domestic products. So because of we choose from domestic products from internet, and it is increasing, e-commerce is increasing. That's why our current account deficit becoming to better and better. So let's check it together. But first, let's start or begin with the effects of our internet using. And as you see from our this table, that from the slides, the graphic one, this is the internet using and social media and mobile usage statistic for world. And according to the research, the increase of using the internet mobile device e-commerce is growing rapidly, with factors such as different payment methods, such as product delivery progress and the increase in the number of consistent consumers. And by the way, when retail e-commerces are analyzed in words, for the words, between 2014 and 2018, the sales volume increased from $1.3 billion to $2.5 billion until 2018. And one of the biggest reasons for the increase electronic commerce or e-commerce sales volume is the increasing in the internet access. For example, according to a report, there was a report for Digital 2020 and or Digital 2020, the Global Digital Overview, and it's prepared by the CAMP. And according to this report, the world population approximately near to, from screen you can see it, 7.75 billion. If the world population is 7.75 billion, and it is a little bit high rates that the 59% of these people in this world are using internet. So they have the internet access for the 59% of all the people in the world. So compared to the January 2019, the increasing is 7%. 7% is a really good rate for the increasing internet accesses all over the world. And after that, we can check to, of course, the numbers for the Turkeys, because our economic analysis was about the Turkey, and we tried to analyze in Turkish economy both the internet commerce and also the current account deficit. So according to Turkey, as you see, approximately it's 83 million people in Turkey, our population. And according to the population, mobile phone connections are so high, it's 92%. And you can do many things from your mobile phone, as you know. And by the way, of course, according to the same report that's below, when examined the data in Turkey, according to this, Turkey's population, which is 83 million, was determined that 74% of these people, Turkish people, has the access as can the internet access, and these people are using actively social media, 54 million, and this is the 64% of these all population. So they can buy something from internet easily because they are using their mobile phone, they are using their laptop or computers, they have the internet access, and they can buy something from this internet. But of course, there are some people that are afraid of the using their credit cards from the internet. That's why it's not so easy for them. But after COVID, of course, it's begin to easy and easy because they must. They were compulsory to buy something from internet. Maybe for me, it's the same. I'm so afraid of buying something from internet and using my credit card, and also if try to explain the advantages and disadvantages to using the credit card or using credit card truly. And of course we need to another conference, or we need to another 10 minutes in a conference for explaining all these advantages and disadvantages. But rather than the advantage or disadvantage of using credit card, we maybe gain to we achieve to be not afraid of using this credit card, because we must do it, and we are compulsory to use the internet access and internet commerce. So from here, of course, we need to time for spending, for buying something, because we will choose. It's not easy. For example, I bought this shirt from the internet, and it was a gift from my daughters for Father's Day, but it's a little bit big for my size. It's just one maybe X large. It can be large, but unfortunately, there's nothing to do because we have to go, we have to try it, we have to check it, and after that, we have to buy it. But if we can't go somewhere, of course, we will spend our time in internet. So what about using our time in internet? I think this is the spending time for social media in the world. You can explain it or understand it as for all internet usage in the world. And of course, they are using their time really huge, especially Philippines. I hope that you can see exactly, but I can read it for you. 9 hours and 45 minutes, sure, per day. For Philippines, and for Thailand, again, it's so much, and South Africa and Brazil. But overall, the world, the average is 6 hours and 43 minutes for people per day. And we have 24 hours per day, and they are using internet and spending time for using internet for 9 hours. It's huge number for me. I don't know Silvius, but I think it's really huge time to spend for internet, for laptop, for computer, or for my mobile phone. 9 hours, it's really huge. But for nowadays, people must spend their time if they want to buy something, and if you want to use the e-commerce from internet, because they have to choose something. They have to choose the colors of their clothes. They have to choose some size of it. They have to be careful. They have to search the internet access and search the companies that it's safety or not. That's why they have to spend their time. Turkey is it's not too much for the Turkey, but we can check from the other screen that it's I think 6 hours per day. It's too much. And Romania is again near to the 6 hours, 7.29. And yes, sure, Romania is good, better than us. And what about the adoption rates? We can adapt to e-commerce, electronic commerce or not. We can check it from here. Indonesia, it's again near to Philippines. This area is really using the e-commerce, internet access, and they are using internet too much. And again, it's 9 hours and 45 for the in Philippines, and for the Indonesia, the 88% of the Indonesian people can adapt to e-commerce. So 88% of the Indonesian people can use internet for their shopping. So they can shop from, and they can adapt to shop from internet rather than Turkey and worldwide average and maybe European countries. And if we check to again to maybe the other countries, we can see uh, the Turkey as only the 63%. The 63% of the Turkish people can adapt to buy something from internet, but the worldwide average is 74%, and the best one is the 88 with Indonesia. So still we couldn't adapt to e-commerce something, but let's check to this is for the 2020 and 2000 maybe coming from 90, but we have to check the 10 years ago. So where we were and how we come to here. So commerce in Turkey, as you see from the screen, that it's higher and higher. I think it's more than 10 times. In 2010, it was only 15 million Turkish liras, but now it's nearly to 200 million Turkish liras. And what about current deficit? We will try to uh, get a relationship between the current account deficit and e-commerce, because we are believing that, and we are afraid of it. We couldn't adapt it, and we couldn't trust someone from abroad, and that's why from this fairness, or that's why we try to uh, buy something from Turkish people, from Turkish companies, Turkish families, because we know them. We know these people, we know these families, we know these companies. That's why if we must, or if we try to buy something from internet, we are trying to buy something from Turkish products, from Turkish families, or products which are producing in Turkey. And that's why we are we are people, the Turkish people are uh, buying many things from abroad, this import goods. So we, by the helping of, maybe because of the using internet in our shop or electronic commerce, we are going away and away from the import goods. That's why we try to buy some export goods or producing in Turkey. That's why we want to believe that. That's why current account deficit maybe can go decreasing and decreasing. Of course, just no one says that just one thing, just one reason, just one variable that's name is electronic commerce or internet commerce can become or can create or can provide it to be decreased for current account deficit, but we found a solution or we reached a solution that e-commerce are affecting and give an effective reaction for the current account deficit by decreasing it. So let's check it. We tried to, and we decided with my colleagues to check it with an analysis, an econometric analysis, and that we tried to find a relationship and the way of this relationship with Granger causality test, and then we checked to the direction of this causality, and after that we tried to comment it. And as you see from the logarithmics, it's increasing for the electronic trades, the electronic commerce, and increasing for the CA is in so sorry that current account deficit D, it has to be here D log SAD CAD. And so when the series is showing the current deficit and e-commerce between 2010 and 2019, and they are analyzed by me and my colleague, electronic commerce data appear to increase every year, and contrary to the increasing trend of e-commerce, about the current account deficit has been in a decreasing in recent years, especially compared to the first year of this study. It's 2010, as you know, and because of this, especially in recent years, it's remarkable that there's a reverse relationship between them. And we have to check, of course, for analyzing their relationship for the unit truth test, that there can be some fake problems. So for these variables, and we have to check that it's really stable or not. And the first value, we checked it that it's minus, but not important for, more minus, that we have to check it for the numbers, that it's 1.74. And for 1%, 5%, and for 10%, these critical values, we checked and it is not bigger than the critical values McKinnon. So it is not stable. So we have to take these first differences, and we take the first differences, so it's necessary whether the times is used in the model are stable or not. If working with non-stable series, it can be there's some problem, and this situation, the result obtained by regression analysis does not reflect the real relationship. That's why, because of the fact the series has a unit root in the case that is not stable, and augmented Dicke-Feller test shows us that when examining the fixed data, augmented Dicke-Feller test statistic, we can say about electronic commerce and the current deficit graphics that it's observed, it doesn't have a stable structure at the level. Because after first differences, as you see, it comes to 3.93. It is bigger than 5%, but and it's not bigger than the 1% critical value. So for 5%, this value tests appear to be greater than absolute critical values determined by McKinnon. So on the account of this, when the first differences of the series are taken, we can say that the current deficit provides the assumption of stability for 5%. So it is safety and it is good for 5%. We can explain it after the first.
Mr. Zungun, you have like 2 or 3 more minutes because there's another speaker.
Sure. Okay. And e-commerce, but e-commerce, it's not same, because after the first differences, this is 3.10. It is only after the 10%, it's bigger. So we can explain it by 10% safety. And so we have to check the Granger causal test. We understood that for 5% for the e-commerce and for 10% for the current account deficit, we have a relationship between them. But in which way, in which direction the causality? So current deficit can cause the electronic commerce, or electronic commerce can cause the current deficit. So we have to check this causative relationship according to archaic information criteria, and the delay length was taken as 2, and of course the obtained result presented as for possibility 0.05, and this means that it's an enough possibility for us, and so current we can reject it to current deficit is not the cause of electronic commerce. That means it is the cause of electronic commerce. And the same for the 10%. It is because smaller than 10%, it's 0.08. So electronic commerce, we can reject it, that electronic commerce is not the cause of current deficit, because electronic commerce is the cause of current deficit. So according to here, we have to check that it is minus or plus. That means that it's minus 0.69. It's important for us because it is for the opposite direction. So when e-commerce are increasing, this means that the current account deficit for Turkey is decreasing for 69.3%. So it's good for Turkey. Of course, COVID is not good for Turkey, or can't go home, can't go shopping is not good for the people. It's so boring for everyone for the last 5 months. But if you can use your structures for your domestic companies, and if the people can trust these domestic companies and the goods producing in your country, for example, Romania, or in my country, in Turkey, they can buy more export goods, more domestic goods, and they can maybe forgive to buy some import goods, and you can change. If you have minus, we have minus. So current account, it means that we have a deficit, not a surplus like China. So if we want to change this deficit, we can use our internet and e-commerce for the domestic companies as an advantage. And finally, we check the proof of this correlation from our analysis that it is 61%. The same thing, proving our analysis that our e-commerce increasing are affecting positively, of course, deficit negatively, but our economy positively affecting on current account deficit in Turkey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's a very, very interesting subject. The same from Romania, because I'm confident that in Romania, e-commerce has increased in this period. Yeah, the next speaker is our colleague Silviu Stanciu. He's vice rector in Dunărea de Jos University. And Mr. Professor, you have the floor, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Good morning.
Nice to meet you. And I see a lot of people are coming to this conference. I think that the better is to be directly in Constanța for us, for everybody, and talk directly with our friends and with the participants to the conference. But this is the situation, and we must to adapt to the situation, because if we are not adapted, we are despair. Yeah. So this is. I have my presentation. I will check to present. Share. It's okay.
Yes.
Did you see the presentation?
Sorry. One suggestion. Sorry, my colleague Silviu. If you have some questions, I'm speaking to all the guests. If you have some questions to our colleague to Turkey about his presentation, sorry about I forget in my position. If you have any questions, please you can enter, and or in a better situation to put on a chat these questions, and then to pass directly to our colleague. Any questions, you are free to ask our colleague in Turkey about e-commerce, about this effect, positive or negative, and so on. Yes.
So my presentation is available. Did you see my presentation?
Sure, we can see.
It's okay. Yes, I have a present. How many minutes I have for the presentation? It's okay. 10 minutes, Mr. Ungureanu.
Yes,
10 minutes. Yeah, it's okay. So I have a presentation about the COVID-19, and it's a lot of problems. You know, everybody in the world it's worried about the problem because COVID it's now the top news on the newsletters. On the all the people are worried and are interested about the COVID outbreak, and now we are interested, and there is a lot of problem about the food consumption. What we are doing, because you know, when the COVID is coming, the pandemic is coming. Everybody say, "Oh, what I must do to be healthy." So the first step in the pandemic, in the crisis, was everybody want to be healthy. So they ask about the sanitary products, and you know the crisis of the mask crisis, and there are a lot of problems. We need mask, and the price of the mask, sanitary mask, was very growing. You know, last year the 10 mask for euro, and now €2, €5 for a mask sometimes. So there is a crisis, but you know, we are if we are living, we must eat. So what would happen with our food and our what we have to eat? What is happen with food production if the COVID is the crisis is going? So my presentation, presentation is you know, like all the papers. It's abstract, introduction, materials and methods, results, conclusion, and the references. Something about the history and pandemics. We know in history it was a lot of pandemics in the human civilizations. Humanity was affected by a series of crises generated by pandemics. A lot of this was made by microorganisms, like you know, a lot of people, you see the photo, the picture, and these pandemics, they have a lot of influence on history and the evolution of the humanity. You know, the many problems about these pandemics. Maybe you see, you know, the Roman Empire. It's one of the problem of the disparition of the finish of this empire was a pandemic. And also, you know, the first war, mondial war, global war, and about after the war there are some pandemics. Now the HIV problems, and also it's a pandemic. Everybody knows that the pandemic could make a lot of problem for the peoples. In the present, there are problems with the economic stability. Usually after the pandemic and after a crisis, usually it was a war. We hope that in this years will be not, next year will be not a war, but sometimes they are correlated. Wars and pandemics and another problems and the crisis and the loss of the food and other problems, they have problems for all the peoples. What happened with the companies? What happened with the food production? What happened with the transport of goods and the borders of the states? You see, when the pandemic flew, it's the outbreaks was in Europe. A lot of problems. A lot of people closed the borders, and people, a lot of countries closed the borders, and a lot of people must stay in other countries and could not go home, or they have a lot of problems with the food and alimentation. So, for the information, we have a lot of source of information. First, we use the privates. There are a lot of papers in the free access of these papers, because in the crisis, access from the scientific papers are free. It's free for every papers, for every article. Also, I use the Scopus, ResearchGate, Google Scholar, and other scientific database. From Romania, I use the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health, and also National Institute of Statistics. And we had a lot of results. Results have been analyzed and interpreted, and the conclusion was compared to other scientific papers to obtain the results and as close to the truth as possible. So It's about the COVID-19. You know, on the World Health Organization, we have the situation. The situation is presented every day, and every week, every month, the cases of pandemic person that are infected are presented, and we see every day a lot of countries are affected. Now in the USA, but last days we see it also in Europe, but especially in Romania, we have a lot of cases that are growing, a lot of many cases, and also my country, Galați, is affected, and you see yesterday more than 1,000 people were infected in Romania. What happened with this with the cases? Because in the first stage of the pandemic, we think that when the weather will be better in the summer, maybe the pandemic will be stopped, but not. There are no stopping, and there are also a lot of cases in Romania. The risk in Romania is to be again closed. The city will be closed, and you know the situation. There's Suceava city, and we don't know what's happened. We are also worried in my university what's happened with the admission, because now we are in the exam of admission, and if the city, Galați city, will be closed, what is happening with our candidates and what is happening with our university? Everybody knows there's a problem that are concerning everybody. So as you see, we have a lot of outbreaks in the world. The data are not yesterday from the World Health Organization, but the situation is growing everybody, and Europe there is a lot of problem, and who knows what will happen the next day. In Romania, we have a situation. The first step was using the quarantine and using the measure of the government. The evolution was good. I think in the first stage from March, April, and May, maybe also in June. But now I think that the situation is under control. They have no control on the situation, because you know, you see every day a lot of people is infected. Every day the number of persons infected is growing, and it's possible to have a situation like in Italy or like in Spain. In the springtime, so we have no problems with the situation. The situation was under control, but now we have no control. And I don't know what will be happening, because you know the health system in Romania and hospitals, there are some problems, and the special section from the treatment from the diseases, super agglomerated, and there will be some problems. So you can find the data, the situation. We have a site, COVID-19 is the name of the site. It's you can see the situation every day, every moment. What happened with Romania? You see the situation in the country. Now Galați is my county is very affected, and so we don't know what's happening in the future. So what's happened with the people after the crisis is going, it's started, when it's pandemic is coming. There are some studies, some information, scientific information about the consumer behavior and what is happening with the consumer. The first step, you know, everybody knows in the first step of the crisis, in the pandemic, everybody is concerned about the health. What's happening with my health? What we must do to be healthy? When we find medicaments or another drugs, or you know, mask or sanitation, and in the first step of the situation, in the first period, everybody is going to the pharmacy or is going to the market, and you know, if we made an analysis of what kind of goods were shopping in the first days. Alcohol was the most shopping, and the sanitation products and the mask and other. You know, everybody we don't find in the market these products. So after the first concern, after the first step, when the health is priority, we think about what we are eating in the crisis. So everybody go to the market, to the supermarket, and they take food. And you know, if we analyze the statistic, a lot of products was taken in the supermarket. We don't find flour, we don't find oil, we don't find meat, we don't find a lot of products that necessary, and also products that have a lot of very long availability period experience to have. So a lot of people are taking. So everybody takes something for you know, respiratory mask, disinfectants. After this, we take food for quarantine, durable food, and after this, the period is restricted life quarantine. Everybody work at home. Everybody work restricted work, not very long period, and restricted from the people to meeting and another problems. But we pass this period, we pass this stage, and we go to period that we must return to new normal. Difficult for the people from Romania because they don't understand, and you see on the street and on the public institution, they have no mask, they have they don't respect the measure, and now we see the result. A lot of people is affected by this situation. So what's happened with food? Everybody is interested what's happened with food, and if the crisis is longer, we have enough food. What happened with agriculture product in the agriculture sector? In the first days of the crisis, in the pandemic, the shops, the market was everybody takes the products, and we don't find the products, and the people are worried what happened with the food. They take everything, but after days and days, after two weeks or 2 months, the situation go to normality. Now we find in the market a lot of food. We have no problems with the food, but what happened with the food price? The prices are growing. Everybody see it in the market. The price is growing. It's growing, and we have a lot of problem with this food. There is not enough food. We have a lot of food. The stocks is very good in Europe. There are no problems with food, but we must be attentive because you see the food price is growing, and in the first day of the crisis is growing very much. You see here in the graph, and after this there are some problems. What products are growing? Meat, you see, also fresh fruit, vegetables, sugar. Cereals, fish, every price are growing, and was affected. More and more meat was affected because a lot of people was taking meat factory.
Yes. 2 more minutes, please.
Yes, okay. So in Europe, the situation is like in the world. In the first day of the crisis, you see the prices from a lot of peoples. Milk is growing, and also meat is growing, and cereals and other products. In Romania, what's happened in Romania? The first reaction of the officiality of the government was stop export. You see, no export from food, no export from cereal from in another country. First step, they say no export for every country from in the world, also in Europe. But after thinking, they make a change, and they say don't export food in non-European country. Europeans suspended or banned the export of cereal, flour, sugar, oil, and other agri-food products. So in Romania, we have a lot of problems. I have papers about the behavior of the food, consumer behavior, and you see a lot of products are growing, pasta, medication, as I see, also ready to eat. There are not many people that are taking ready-to-eat products, they are purchasing ready-to-eat products. Flour is growing, and another lot of these products. So we have no problem with the food production in this period because the food production, the period was not very long. Of course, there are some other problems in agriculture, but not the influence of the pandemic in the primary products, in the agriculture products, was not very hard. But who knows what happens in the future? So there are some conclusions about the papers. We have a lot of in Romania. We have the pandemic highlighted the necessity of investment in health, especially, and also an investment in the food products, because we are depending, our food market is depending from import, and we need to be not affected by some crisis. And also we need to be attentive, because the critical situation could destabilize our food supply and of the population, and it's possible to have also a food crisis correlated with this kind of crisis, pandemic crisis. So in the short, very short presentation, was because I have only 10 minutes, but this is my paper. This is if you need, if you have some need more information, if you have some questions, you have my mail address here, and I am waiting for your question. So many thanks for the honor to be here with the organizing committee and a lot of personalities from a lot of university from Romania and from other country. A lot of people are coming here. I'm also a little nervous because you know, it's first online conferences. We have some exam with the students, but different. And thank you very much, and I'm honored to be here with you to this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Rector. It was an honor for us to have you, as we did in the latest years. But the interaction was more pleasant because we could go to the beach. We had some nice discussions between us, and we could share more information if we were all present in Constanța.
Maybe next year. Maybe next year we'll be together in Constanța, but now it's online, and we go to the seaside online, to the beach. We can go to the beach online. If you go to the beach, make a photo and send us. Thank you very much.
Okay, we will do so. I will pass the floor now to Mr. Pavel Klima. It's an honor for us to have you. Mr. Pavel Klima is a lawyer, is a lecturer at the Metropolitan University of Prague, and also is a referee to the Court of Arbitration and the Czech Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture. So it's a very important speech for us today. And we welcome Mr. Pavel Klima.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for the confirmation. So firstly, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for to invite me on this conference. I feel very honored, privileged, and proud to take part at this fantastic event. I would like to express hope that all of you with your families, you are okay, you are fine in spite of these very strange COVID or Corona times. I don't think I'm going to try to speak as short as possible. At any conference I take part, I try to focus on those more important aspects. According to my opinion, if speaker speaks too much, it can be considered as contrary to the Article 3 of the European Convention of Human Rights, according to which none shall one no one shall be subjected to no one shall be subjected to torture or to inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. So I would like to mention if within my PowerPoint presentation, can you please display my PowerPoint presentation?
Okay, just a second.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the assistance. So on the first page, you can see the topic of my presentation. That is to say, the European arrest warrant and its application in the Czech Republic. On this page, you can also see my email contact. So if you have some question and so on, feel free to contact me anytime after the conference. I would go to the introduction of my subject. What is the European arrest warrant about? It's a kind of procedure introduced within the European Union that tends, as can be seen within my presentation, that tends to accelerate, to simplify the previous extraditions between member states. Sometimes I call it personally, kind of joke, I call it as a free travel agency of the European Union, free and very, very quick, because as is taught and as is implemented and applied, it's very, very, according to my opinion, very efficient method to send a wanted person from one member state to those that requests this person to be sent or surrender. The European arrest warrant concerns two situations, or people in two situations. Either the requested person, the wanted person, is currently under criminal prosecution. So the requested state needs the presence of that person in order to pursue the criminal prosecution and the criminal proceedings, or that person is already convicted, and the requested state needs the presence of this person in order to put that person in jail, in order to execute the sentence. As it can be seen within the introduction, the European arrest warrant has been introduced by so-called framework decision of the EU. This framework decision must have been implemented within the member state by its own domestic regulations. So every single state should have its own, I don't know, act. Within the following page, I mentioned the number of a name of the law that through which this framework decision has been implemented within the Czech Republic. At this respect, I would like to mention some observation from the practical, some observation or consequence of different of the fact that every single state has its own law. Actually, the base is the same, is that framework decision of the EU. And every single act within the member state should respect this framework decision, but within the implementation, they have in some extent the member state free hand, or they're expected to respect the base, but they can I don't know, to in some extent they can put some further stuff. The other issue is how further this internal law is going to be applied, and one of the consequences can be there was a case several years ago in the Czech Republic, interesting case that what happened. The Czech police, well, I come back to the beginning. It was a Romanian citizen lived in the Germany, well, moved from Germany to from Romania to Germany, and at some point the Romania issued the European arrest warrant against that person because that person should have served 1 year of imprisonment. So the criminal prosecution has been terminated. He should have served, and that person wasn't present on the territory of Romania. He was living at that point in Germany. So he was found in Germany. In the Germany was conducted the surrender procedure, and Germany refused. I don't remember anymore what was exact reason for not having approved the European arrest warrant from Germany, from Romania, but they refused. This sentence, or by which the surrender was refused, become final, enforceable. So that person lived more, 2 years more, I don't know, in Germany. At some moment, his employer sent him for the purposes for some days for the purposes of work in the Czech Republic. This person came for work in Czech Republic. Well, he was arrested by Czech police because that European arrest warrant still exists, and the Czech, in spite of the fact that before the Germany refused the realization of the European arrest warrant and refused to surrender that person to Romania, the Czech Republic started and conduct this procedure again, and approved and sent that person to Germany. Sorry, to Romania. So, and the argument that about, for example, res judicata didn't work. The Czech justice said that that European arrest warrant is not about if that person is guilty or not, and that should be discussed if still possible in the requested state. So, from what I said, can be understood that even if surrender procedure generally is part of criminal proceedings or criminal law, it's some way special. It's not in this. If you have standard criminal proceedings, so the mostly is about if the person is guilty, and if he's guilty, what sentence should receive. But within the surrender procedure, it's all about guilty. At this respect, I can mention that sometimes if a requested person comes in front of judge in the cases of this kind, so in the cases concerning the surrender, about concerning the surrender, so that person sometimes says, I do not agree with surrender because, and as a reason says, because I'm not guilty. And the judge answers, but we are not here for the purposes of evaluating if you are guilty or not. It's about to be discussed in your state or in requested state.
Mr. Pavel,
yes.
Can you finish in 3 minutes, because we're
yes, sorry. Yes. Thank you for reminders. Please, if we can pass to the page number 5, it's part 3, obstacles. Yes, thank you very much. Within this presentation, I lay down the most important reason that can lead to refusal, for surrender of person in question from the Czech Republic to another member state. Even if, although this list can be at first sight considered as huge or wide, is not the case, because this reason mostly concerns very specific situation. Please, if we can pass to the page number 7.
Okay.
Thank you. So, for example, typical within international extradition, one of the very often frequent reason for not accepting the surrender is the fact that the surrender would be contrary to the obligation of the Czech Republic arising from international treaties on human rights and fundamental freedom. Practically, well, what is hidden under this abstract or general reason? Well, it concerns, for example, the situation when it's within the surrender procedure in the Czech Republic is learned that actually that person in the requested state was subjected to fair trial. So within the international extradition case, is one of the basic reason for which the requested state that should have decided about the surrender or not can refuse the surrender. So if the requested state learns that the person in question was not convicted within the fair trial, but this reason exists also with European arrest warrant and the condition for its realization, but it's practically it's not very. I don't remember any case. Maybe there could have been, but I don't remember any case from the Czech Republic with the European warrant arrest warrant realization, because according to my opinion, even if this reason exists as a condition for, as a reason for not accepting the surrender, according to my opinion, in the EU, European Union, it's some way it's supposed that all the member states respect the obligation arising from international treaties on human rights and fundamental freedom. So that is to say that even if this reason for not accepting the surrender exists formally, practically it's not to be it's not going to be used very often. So I'm going to conclude. I think I was I was talking enough, maybe more that was necessary. Again, I would like to. I'm going to conclude my presentation, repeating. If you have question or I don't know whatever, do not hesitate to contact me through email. On the internet, you can find also my mobile phone. So feel free also to call me whenever you want. And I would like to thank very from the bottom of my heart to your university and to all of you for your attention and for the invitation to this fantastic event. Thank you very much.
We thank you very much. It was a very interesting presentation. I can also make a comment on it because this is a real problem also for our courts, the courts of appeal in Romania, because in the position of the advocate of the people, we were contacted by the prisoners who in this period had to be surrendered to, let's say, countries in which the pandemic was very high. And I refer to a case that was in Suceava. And the person had to be surrendered to Italy. And as a defense, he also mentioned that this could affect him because Italy at that point was affected very much by the COVID-19 pandemic. But as you said, our instances, and we all know that in practice, it's almost 100% that this mandate will be approved. But it's very important to find also some arguments which can also be implemented in the European legislations, because we have to analyze every situation and every case. Thank you very much. It was a very interesting presentation, and we will sure take contact with you because